So today on LTV Lab, we're joined by Jennifer Bailey, the founder and CEO of Calla Shoes, a luxury premium footwear brand designed specifically for women with bunions and wide feet. So as you can probably tell, I am not in the exact customer demo for the brand, but I recently placed an e-commerce order from Calla in order to go through and experience their full customer journey as a regular new customer of the brand. So we're going to talk through that customer experience, what I went through, and point out some opportunities and talk through what the brand's doing well and where they might be able to drive some more LTV. So Jennifer, welcome into the lab. Do you prefer Jennifer or Jen? Just so I know.
Just for ease, I would say Jen, because then it's not as many
Jen.
syllables, is it?
Yeah, I'm cool with that. So, Jen, welcome to the lab. It really is awesome to have you here. Really excited for this conversation. You have a really interesting brand, honestly. So, I come from an apparel background. I worked in the luxury apparel space for the first 3.5 years of my career as like an e-commerce coordinator, growing into a director of e-commerce at the brand. So, I always have a soft spot in my heart for the apparel space, but I more so nowadays have a soft spot and a passion for brands with functional
Hmm.
benefits, and the fact that like you combine those two things, apparel and being a functional brand, just makes it a really interesting type of brand and case study for me. So I'm personally super excited for this
Oh, good.
conversation.
Me too.
So yeah. So, Jen, my first question for you, just for background for anyone who has not heard about Calla, I actually saw that you have a TV ad that's running now, which is awesome, and I'm hoping like brand awareness is growing. But for anyone who hasn't heard of the brand, are you able to give a quick background on Calla and like how you came to start the brand?
Yeah, so I mean, my background isn't fashion or footwear. It is actually in marketing, but not not fashion marketing either. It's just like general, marketing background. Uh, but I started the business because of a personal pain point, and I suffer with this foot condition called bunions. And I kind of had a light bulb moment when I was getting married, and I realized I wasn't going to be able to find a nice pair of shoes to wear for my own wedding because I was living in trainers and UGG boots, and like I kind of had like one pair of what I would call occasion shoes that I relied on, but they weren't ones that I wanted to wear to my wedding. They were, I kind of bought. I used to buy all my outfits like this around this one pair of heels, and I knew at that point when I was like searching online that I couldn't, when I couldn't find anything suitable for my feet that would be comfortable and really pretty and that would, that would meet the occasion, that there was a gap in the market. Um, but I didn't at that time think that it was going to be me that would fill it. But I did say to my then husband, one day I'm going to make shoes for women like me. It's kind of like a throwaway comment because I was like, why is no one
Mhm.
doing this? This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And I'm sure loads of people say that kind of thing all the time. But a few years later, I was in a redundancy situation at the job I had. And I was also pregnant with my second child. And and I think that a lot of entrepreneur stories start like this, where you're kind of faced with like a crisis and then you go, okay, what is the solution to this? And I thought, right, I'm going to pursue that light bulb um, idea that I had, because I still couldn't find nice shoes to fit my feet at that time either, and my feet had probably got a bit worse after pregnancy as well. So that's it really. I have bunions, and what the bunions do is they change the shape of your foot, which kind of pretty much makes the front of your foot wider, a lot wider than the heel. And obviously most shoes are made where around a very old process of uh, you know kind of along the lines that all feet are exactly the same, and as we know that's just not the
Mhm.
case. In the same way all bodies aren't the same, all feet aren't the same. But for quite a long time you were either stuck with like really high fashion shoes that were made in this very traditional way, in this very traditional shape, or I would say quite functional but ugly shoes. Um, you know, maybe like your German brands, like Birkenstock or like Crocs, for example. So not
Yeah.
necessarily the kind of shoes that I personally wanted to wear. And so that was it. I was pregnant and on maternity leave. I had my baby, and then 3 months later, I was out in Portugal visiting factories. I'd spoken to some shoe designers to kind of get an idea of how shoes were made, what we could do, and the journey went from there. And it took about 2 years worth of like prototyping, development. I also spent quite a long time building what I call my tribe. I think, in terms of going out into forums and getting feedback from people who were like me, gathering research on what shoes they wanted, what people wanted to see, what their pain points were really, because obviously I'm a personal sufferer, but I just wanted to make sure that what I felt aligned with other people. And then after 2 years of development of the product and building the tribe, we launched like globally actually from day one, because it's a global problem. Around a third of women around the world, in the Western world anyway, suffer from bunions of various shapes and sizes that I'd found out in my research. So I knew that it wasn't a small problem, and I knew that there was a potential for the business to be quite big. I knew that it wouldn't be like a little Etsy type business. I knew that it was going to be something, it could be something decent. It could be like a proper niche in the footwear market that wasn't currently being served. So yeah, so I launched it 9 years ago, and we're still here. We're still surviving despite various external challenges that have been thrown at us along the way.
Yeah, well, I'm happy that you're still surviving, and I would say from an outside perspective, it looks like you're doing a lot better than surviving. But that one third stat is really wild to me, and I'm sure a lot of other people listening are going to be surprised by that. Was that a like major moment for you to decide like, okay, this is a real opportunity? Or even like before hearing that, had you already kind of decided like, if I have this problem, there's probably other people that have this problem, and like that's enough for me to commit into
I
it?
think that my marketing background got me looking at the research well before I started prototyping. I
Okay.
had already, done all the desk research, if you like, to understand if there was a market for my product. That's the advantage, I guess, of coming at it really naively. Like I just thought, well, if there's a demand, I can sort the products out later. And I think other people may come at it the other way, where they do the products and then find the market. Whereas I was, I needed to understand that there was a market before I went away and spent all this money on getting shoes made. And but I think the size of the market meant that I knew that it wouldn't be like I don't know how to describe it. Like I say, it wouldn't be, like people who knit cardigans for babies on Etsy with
Yeah.
I don't know, like something really specific on them, like people who like cardigans with trucks on them. I don't know, like I kind of knew that
The most
yeah, yeah,
niche.
yeah. I knew that it was a significant niche when I went into it.
Yeah.
So I thought it will be easier to get some revenue from this than I originally thought. I think that's what I mean. I wasn't like having to find my audience on really random, narrow channels. Like I could go broader than that. I also knew that from again, like just my marketing background, that without any money, SEO was going to be key to as a driver for the business. And when I typed in, and I knew this from my own research, when you type in bunion shoes, a whole lot of shoes came
Mhm.
up that I absolutely did not want to wear. So I thought, if I can just, I can't be the only person. Now I know I'm not the only person who types in bunion shoes and go, is this it? So I thought, well, if I can
Right.
do some work on people type in bunion shoes, we come up and they're like, wow, right, okay, this is different, then we would get rewarded for that by Google. I just had a really strong feeling that people would spend more time on our site than other people's, because we had a pair of shoes that people actually wanted to wear, not that you just had to kind of make do with, that you would, the kind of shoes that you look like you would be sat in a retirement home with.
Yeah.
So and I was right. I spent a year before we launched working on the SEO, and by the time we launched, we were like number one for bunion shoes on Google, because
Oh
and that
wow.
was with no product. That was just by driving traffic to the site through like Pinterest and forums like that. And and then people get there and going, oh, this girl's doing something that I want, so they were spending time reading the story and then getting on board with that and signing up for information.
Got it. And 9 years ago, when you started the brand, obviously there was this huge gap of
Yeah,
people who were looking up bunion shoes and like couldn't find something that resonated and like looked great to them. Have you found that the competitive landscape has evolved now in
yeah,
2026, where there are other options in the market and
definitely,
people call
definitely.
that?
And in fact, my main competitor, it's a lot bigger than me. They
Yeah.
they had the advantage of already running a business, which I'd never done before, and also in footwear. So,
Yeah.
there's a lot to be said about going into business, having a background in that area. It does help, but they launched like 6 months after we did. They'd obviously been in the planning stage at the same time as me, and
Yeah.
I just didn't know, and they didn't know I was doing it as well either. But what I found, even though obviously it's really difficult when you're trying to carve out a space and someone's carving it out right next to you, it's weird. But what I found was every time they maybe got a bit of publicity or PR, and people started searching and realizing that there was finally a solution to their problems, we would get extra sales as well. Because there's an
Okay.
education piece that needs to be done when nobody knows that there's a solution to their problem. And actually, the
Hmm.
more competitors that you have out there, the more people know that there's a solution. And then they'll start doing that thing that everybody does where they go, oh, if there's one solution, there might be another. And then they'll start doing their own research and they'll start making their own um, decisions about why you buy from one brand rather than another. So, whether it's
Got
like,
it.
you could do that for anything like, I don't know, even, down to maybe like a particular skin condition, because like cosmetics is like, I kind of follow the beauty industry quite closely because from a marketing point of view, they really have it down. And there's obviously loads and loads of problems in the beauty industry, isn't there, that the beauty industry solves. But sometimes people might not know that there's a particular product out there for their very specific skin condition. But then they find it, they're like, wow, somebody has done this. But then they might go off and
Yeah.
go, I wonder if there's somebody else that's done it, and all of that does help. So yeah, there's a few more competitors in the market, and we're definitely, we have a market share. It's not the biggest, but I did spend some. I think that what we do, we have our own very specific niche within that niche now, with our own look and feel, in terms of the branding and in terms of the type of product that we offer. We try and have our own lane, I guess. And I think again that's fine in fashion. If you think about how many t-shirt companies are out there, or how many like sneaker companies are out
For
there,
sure.
like what no one's we're not reinventing the shoe in a way, even though we're doing it differently. Um, people have choices about what they want to put on their feet, so that they don't stand on glass and cut themselves. It's like the shoe is not being reinvented. So yeah, I'm there is definitely more competition coming along, but we have the advantage of you know knowledge of 9 years of like listening to customers and developing the product off the back of that.
For sure. Yeah, that's all super interesting. And like what stands out to me is that education piece because, as I said, I'm not really part of the core
Yeah.
customer demo. But what I am very curious about is for someone who does land on the Calla site for the first time ever, or even discovers a competitor of yours that is in a similar position, is the average like current state of that customer, like I don't know if you have the data, but maybe anecdotally, do you think the average state is that they are wearing other bunion shoes that are not stylish premium
So
shoes, or is it that
we do
Mhm.
since I started the business, I've done an annual survey. Again, like this is where, even though I don't know anything about shoes, I kind of understand a bit about marketing. So we've done an
Yeah.
annual survey to the customers, and we always get a really good response. Like our customers, I don't know if it's the demographic or whatever, but when I'd done market research in the past, I'd probably, to a much bigger audience. I get like, we get amazing responses. Our customers, even our non-purchasers, we get really good responses from. But one of the questions is, what other brands do you wear? Like that's like a big thing for us. Like
Okay.
what have they switched from, and how do we compare to those brands? Um, And what we found is that people, because there is like a bit of choice out there, we'll obviously get some people that tell us anecdotally that they are slowly but surely changing their entire shoe wardrobe over to Calla. And that's over the years as we brought out new styles. Like we started with heels, and then we brought in flats, and then we brought in, summer sandals, and then we brought in boots. So like as we brought in more and more styles, people are able, and that's kind of what I wanted, to change their wardrobe over to us. But they definitely buy from our competitors as well. Like again, like the same way with like how many t-shirts, or like you might have a pair of Nikes, or you might have a pair of New Balance and a pair of something else. Like, it just depends on what the offer might be on at that time, or the color of the shoe that you're looking at that time, or and one of your competitors might have it and you might just not have it in your range at that time. So saying that, we know, so when I say that we know what they're wearing, the other brands, they tend to still be in a pretty stylish area. So we're taking women away from fashionable brands that are finding that they're not comfortable. So what I found with our ladies is that they will sacrifice, or they have sacrificed comfort for style in the past, but they don't really want to. So having a more comfortable choice is a better option, but they didn't know that solution existed. Or I call it, where they get to the point of, a bit like I was when I was looking for a pair of shoes for my wedding. You get to that point where you're like, I really need a pair of shoes, like for this very specific thing, and I'm going to have to go out there and look for it. So we get those types of women as well. But the people who are already wearing, I would say, the ugly orthopedic shoes, that they're happy with that. They don't necessarily want to switch to a more stylish option unless they need it for like mother of the bride. We get a lot of those. Yeah. Do you see what I mean? So there's lots of different reasons why people come to us, but the Calla woman is quite a specific type of woman. She really, she looks after herself. She'll spend a lot of money on taking care of herself and getting her hair done, putting makeup on her fashion choices. And the last thing she wants to do is put a pair of horrible, ugly shoes on, because it'll just ruin her vibe.
100%. And I was going to ask like about the specifics of the customer demo, but like you just touched on a lot of that. So that's super helpful and great to hear. When it comes to like the price point and like that Calla woman that you mentioned, do they look at it as a like premium or like more expensive option than what they're currently wearing? Or do you think that like customer archetype sees it as just like a price point that is like very accessible to them?
I mean, our customer definitely has disposable income and values spending money on quality products that last, and are more conscious about the provenance maybe of where their shoes are made and how they're made, and that they're made ethically, with some sustainability credentials, like at least considered. We're not vegan and we're not recycled materials, but our shoes are ethically made in smaller factories in Portugal, and we use recycled packaging in our in the box, and or recyclable packaging, and we're trying to make the shoes as well as we can within the constraints of needing to technically make them in a way that they're suitable at the same time, which is actually quite hard, because you want to it's really hard to tick every single box. But our customers appreciate us attempting, I guess, to get those messages across. And I think in the survey that we do, everybody seems to know that the shoes are made in Portugal, and that's actually a big thing for us, particularly in America. People appreciate that, and they associate European manufacturing with quality, and that is important to us. And actually, the price point isn't necessarily set on how much we can get out of a customer. It's set on how much it costs to make the shoes and the margin that we need to make to run the business. And that's it, really. I don't overcharge. It's a fair price for the quality of the shoes, and me still being able to employ staff and buy more shoes and run the business. I'm certainly not a millionaire yet. But it was a conscious decision to make in Europe, but we didn't used to use that as a marketing tool to start with. The original I made in Europe because I wanted to do something quite special, and I needed to be able to just, this is ridiculous really, but I needed to be able to just fly there whenever I wanted to. And like Porto to me is like
that's ridiculous.
2.5 hours away. I can just jump on a plane.
Yeah.
Because the airport's like 20 minutes from my house, so I can just be there. And I didn't want to go over to like China or India, like to do that. And I didn't feel like I would have the same control over the manufacturing and the product development as I do. But if you make in Europe, it is more expensive. Like that's just kind of that's just the way it is. So the customers definitely, the demographic definitely appreciates quality. And I've just done last week actually we do this every quarter where we look at all of our like direct competitors and then peripheral type like nice brands that are in the same price point as well, to have a look how we compare in terms of quality and fit and innovation, and like pretty much the from everything that we looked at, we are winning in my head. Like, so it's just about how we can communicate that now to our customers. And we definitely don't do it well enough right now, like not as well as we could do. And it's like a big project for us for this year to like, I feel like we can tell like the brand story fairly well, but we don't really tell the product story as well, like in that bit of the journey about what makes the product special and how it's much better than other products out there. And it's only when they get them and customers say, wow, this is like this does feel better quality than something else at the same price point, then they can understand that. But obviously e-com it's just not, it's really hard to get tangibility across, isn't it? Like it's like you can, unless you're feeling like it's really hard. So yeah, the demographic definitely appreciates a story behind the brand, and they appreciate quality.
Got it. Okay, cool. I think it's a good segue into like the customer journey, kind of like as I experience it at this point. So obviously, like first step was like starting just like on the homepage of the website, and that's when like I initially like saw your pop-up form that you had over here, and I noticed that you have what's called like a micro commitment pop-up form, which like is definitely like up there in terms of like top performing pop-up forms. And for anyone watching, like I've talked about this on other episodes, but a micro commitment is simply just before you ask someone for what you want from them, which is going to be their email address or phone number. It's just asking a simple question of, do you want the incentive that we're offering? Yes or no. And then once they say yes, which is a really easy thing to say yes to, they've made a micro commitment, and they're more likely to then give you what you want on the next step, which is email address. You are collecting some zero-party data here. So like, what do you want to hear from us about? Have you ever seen, like while you're shopping, a like native zero-party data pop-up form that like looks something like this?
Yes. There's certain thing, have we seen like the spin to win and stuff like that? Yeah.
So the zero-party data part of it that I'm referring to here is like there's two options to do this. So like the way that you are currently running this as like a micro commitment is also involved here, where like the first page of the form, instead of saying like, do you want this discount? Yes or no. It's saying, do you want a discount? In order to get it, let us know like this one data point that's going to help us like personalize your customer experience and our messaging for you. So this tends to convert even higher than like the micro commitment, the yes or no, just because like people love talking about themselves, and it still has that micro commitment like principle. Like we're not asking you for anything in exchange at this point. And then obviously like this is one thing that people tend to conflate, because sometimes brands, and we've even done this in the past with our clients at Dispatch, where like you can run an A/B test where you're testing like a standard micro commitment versus zero-party data form. And sometimes you'll see that the regular micro commitment form has a higher opt-in rate, and brands will just end that test and say, okay, great, this converts better. But in reality, what we actually want to do on the back end is set up a continuation of that test in your like welcome series on the Klaviyo or whatever ESP you're using side of things, where instead of just saying like, here's your 10% off, you can now say, here's your 10% off, and like, here's specific customer reviews that are tailored to the problem that
Yeah.
like, that you
Yeah.
have.
Okay.
Or like, here's the specific product that you should go shop because of that like problem that we know you have. And I think like the way you're collecting zero party data here is better than nothing for sure. But I think like in this type of scenario, I, at least myself as a customer, I wouldn't immediately know like what I want to hear about
Yeah.
in the future. If anything, like I want to hear about everything, and I'll kind of like decide as it comes in. Like, um, but it would be an interesting like type of form for you guys to apply because you are on that functional side of things. And my question for you at this point is just, is there anything that comes to mind, top of mind, as like the one data point that you would want to have for a new visitor to the website in order to help you like personalize your messaging as to why they specifically need?
Yeah.
There was like one
Yeah,
thing.
to be honest, we did this, but in a post-purchase survey. But it kind of makes sense to do it in a pre-purchase survey, actually, where we wanted to know why people were buying, what foot condition they had when they were buying the shoes. Was it bunions or was it something else? Did they have? Because lots of people buy the shoes because just for comfort or because they're wide fit, or they have a different condition like hammer toes, and then we can link it to products that are specific to their condition, or we can give them information
Yeah,
that's more
exactly.
specific then. And if they haven't got bunions, then we won't rabbit on about bunions. We'd talk about wide feet instead. So we did it in a post-purchase survey. That was very recently. We only did that last, I think it was when the TV advert went out in November, because we wanted to know how many people had found out about the TV ad. And then we also thought, well, let's ask them about, what's wrong with them. um,
Yeah.
and yeah, it would work much better if they can go down an email funnel for their particular conditions. That's a really good idea. Can we end the podcast
For
now?
sure.
I'll just
And
go.
honestly,
I'll take that.
yeah, yeah, no, it's something that's honestly like not the easiest thing to apply just because like it's not that hard to do on the welcome flow side of things, but you can also apply this like in campaigns. So it's like if you're sending a campaign and you don't want to send like three different campaigns for people, you can use like dynamic content in a Klaviyo campaign, and usually like other ESPs support it, where if you have this like profile property that's associated with what they submitted on their form, you now have this data point like forever that you can use across the life cycle. Even like abandoned cart emails, like you could show a review or like talk about the product in a specific way. So it really is like an amazing thing to have upfront before someone even place an order as far
Yeah,
as
I
I
can
think.
see that probably as websites evolve as well. Whatever they click there, they might get their own personalized web experience as well.
100%. And honestly, like even before you talk about the email side of things, like you're talking about on the website, like when they click continue over here, there is the option to like if they clicked on bunions, like when they click like shop now, once they have their code, send them to a
Yeah,
collection page or a dedicated landing page for
yeah.
bunions. So 100% like the first step in personalizing that journey. And it is great to hear. Honestly, like I ask this question on most episodes of LTV Lab, and a lot of founders say like, I would really need to think about it. Like, what is that one data point? And the fact that you know what that is, like right off the top of your head, is a huge advantage. Because like even with clients, we can go back and forth for a month, 2 months, like thinking about the perfect one. So you're in a good position to implement this for sure. Cool. The rest of the website, like super easy to navigate in terms of like looking for the different types of products you have. I really love that you have like the by like style section where like you can just immediately understand like what you're looking for today. And then like the fact that you have like shoes for bunions, party collection, metallic edit, workwear. I don't know if you have any data on like how much traffic these collections get, but I do think it is very nice to have as a shopper to just be able to shop kind of like buy these lifestyle type of collections and like use case type of
Yeah,
collections.
yeah. I think it does two things. It's one for you, like when they come to the site, they go in, I need this, I've got this quite specific occasion in mind. Like I told you before, like
Hmm.
people might just make do with what they've got, but then they're like we have a lot of air hostesses, for example, wearing our shoes. They, they want a pair of black court shoes, so they can just go straight to that workwear thing. And then also it's quite good for SEO as well.
For sure. Yeah. Um, then honestly, like on your product pages, I could probably go to one that like is in stock. But one of the key things here that stands out a lot is like your loyalty points that can be earned with a purchase. There are a ton of brands that have loyalty programs stay in 2026 and don't actually like implement it the right way or like implement it in a way that is conducive to people actually being incentivized to spend money because of points. And I think the fact that you have this very clearly like under the cost to just kind of like maybe soften the blow of the price. At least that's what it does for me as a customer. It's like it's $319, but at 319 points, which is great, is very interesting. Loyalty programs are like in general, like something we work with clients on at Dispatch and are very interesting to me. Does everyone who places an order, Jen, get automatically enrolled into the loyalty program, or do they have to go through a separate sign
No,
up?
as long as they don't check out as a guest, as long as they, then they're signed up. So they don't have to sign up for an email or that's separate, like marketing emails are separate. But
Mhm.
when you register, when you log in to find out where your orders are and all that kind of stuff, as long as they've
Yeah.
done that, then they're registered for this. I mean, we do have issues with this loyalty program because some of our like some of our customers struggle finding out how many points they've got, how to use it. So it's definitely not the best. It's not the
Yeah.
best, but it's very reasonably priced. The software we use is the right price point for what I want to pay for what ROI I get. I think there's some amazing good software programs out there, that do all singing, all dancing loyalty programs, but like I don't think you get the ROI from them because some of them are a lot of money. Um, and
Yeah.
every month 50% of our customers are returning customers, so we know that we have strong loyalty anyway. But I want to be able to um, reward, I guess, like personally,
Mhm.
for loyalty to us. And when I was talking before about brand switching, um, like they'll think, oh, that pair of shoes is similar on the other website, but if I buy on this one, then I'll get points.
100%. And are you able to see with the platform you're using any like clear incrementality data where like users are actually
Oh yeah,
redeeming
yeah,
their points and like
yeah,
users?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It is. It's and
Okay.
and it, the one-off customers that and stuff, they don't care. It's the ones that come back and buy
For sure.
second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, tenth. They care. Like they're the ones, and I'm quite happy to reward them. I think it's better to do that than just an email saying here I have 10% off for being a VIP. I think they like the fact that they can. I mean, it's always hard to attribute, isn't it? Like, would they have bought it anyway?
Yeah.
But people
Hmm.
definitely use it, and we've changed it loads over the years as well, like up with different offers and different tiers. We've just had to do that just because of the way the world is changing. But the customers, they're happy with getting something for nothing. I think they see it as.
For sure. And yeah, I think the main thing, like you called it out, is just like communicating it properly and like really not treating it as something that like you just set up once and then like forget about it. So the fact that like your customers are taking advantage of those offers, I do think like there is always that question, of course, of like would they have bought anyways? But it is very easy for customers to like not redeem their points for rewards. So I think like if they're going out of their way to redeem it and get the use out of those points, um, that is the
Yeah.
proof I think that you need at that
Well,
point to
I mean, there
just
is a small
be all right.
issue in that it it does kick out a lot of emails. Like you end up with like, getting emails from one business and you're getting emails about campaigns and you're getting emails about you might be in a flow and then you might get another
Mhm.
email about this is how many points you've got and like and then might get an order email and then you might get I just feel like some like as a weakness that I've already identified in the business, like we just need to kind of have a good look at when all of those go out and making sure that it makes sense to the customer, that they're not being bombarded, and that they open the right email that's going to be useful to them, and not just think, oh God, it's Calla again, I'm going to ignore that.
100%. It's definitely something a lot of brands overlook, and that is something that like tends to happen when you do have like different
Yeah,
apps that are sending emails from the app and not from like Klaviyo or
yeah,
your ESP. It's really easy to just like not see them going out, and then all of a sudden you have like 10 emails coming from 10 different places. So that's really like the importance of just like understanding what's happening across the customer journey, and not like looking at anything in a
yeah.
silo. So that is like a very important element for sure. The rest of the website, honestly, like very intuitive, like just easy checkout experience. I did want to ask you, Jen, what do you think and believe are like the top one, two, three, like hesitations that a new customer has before they place their first order with Calla?
Um, so the things that stop people ordering are
Yeah.
price, um, availability, um,
Hmm.
and are they right for me? That's kind of, like, is this going to fit my feet?
For sure. And what would you say you've done to kind of like solve for those?
Okay.
So obviously like price is like everything you do on the marketing side is to justify
Yeah, I
price.
think we could do more. And like I say,
Hmm.
we're doing a project this quarter where we're completely revamping our product pages, because I think fashion tends to copy other fashion, but what does
Yeah,
really well? I mean, I shouldn't share this secret with other people. Hopefully, my competitors won't listen to it, because then we can do it.
we can
No,
cut it
it's
out if
fine
you want.
actually,
Yeah.
because I think this is the way the world is going. But if you look at what technological products do, like Apple, or even like, I mean, I've been researching hair dryers and hair curlers and stuff. And what I found with tech
Hmm.
products, or what I call tech products because they involve technology, is that the way that they plan out their product pages is completely different to the way that apparel does it. And because we're a combination of, I would say, like tech and apparel at the same time, because it's functional,
Hmm.
we're looking at not copying, but borrowing from the way that those tech products lay out that story, and really highlighting the differences, or the benefits and the features of the product that is going to get you over the line. And at the moment, um, we can definitely do that better. And what we find, and we know this because if you think about a customer that comes from a meta ad, for example, so they see the meta ad and they're like, oh, this
Yeah.
is for, comfort footwear. I'm looking, oh, those shoes look pretty, whatever. And then they come to the website. And then I don't think their knowledge of us is not vast. So it might be like a first time visitor to the website. And those customers are the
Yeah.
ones that I think that we possibly lose. Um, Obviously then we stalk them a bit, and they'll get various meta ads with various different messages, maybe of the different things that we offer and what makes us special. And then if they sign up to an email, then they'll get stalked a bit more, or they'll have more messages, and so to maybe get them over the line. But I do think that it is a weakness on our page in order to justify the price point and justify why this pair of shoes, when they've seen that silver pair of shoes somewhere else for like half the price. Like, what is the justification there? um in terms of, yeah, the price is so tricky. Like, we know that I actually kind of know that our American customers probably don't give a shit about the price. Like,
Hmm.
sometimes I'll have a look where they live and I'm like, whoa. Like, they can afford like 10 of these. Yeah. So for
Okay.
different people, like, price sensitivity is, um means different things. Whereas for somebody else, actually, the price will put them off, um, just because they can't afford it. But if they thought, well, it's going to solve this problem, this problem, this problem, then they're like, but it's worth it, So
A
yeah,
100%. And that's where like as a shopper, like again, not part of the core customer demo, but like the value that I assign when it comes to like a breakdown of like, okay,
yeah,
$319, like if I'm just looking at this product page at face value, It's like, okay, I'm paying $319 for what this shoe looks like,
Yeah.
basically.
I mean, we do add
And
some
that
bits at
is
the
like really
bottom where you can normally. Is there an image with my feet in the shoes
over here.
on the
Uh,
thumbnails of the shoes?
oh,
There,
over
yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah. So those are my feet trying them on. So
Yeah.
you might look at it and go, "Oh, my feet look like that," you know.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect example, and like this is something we talk about like all the time. Is like so much for founders, and I even see that like with our own agency. So much to founders like becomes obvious about your brand, where it's like you, Jen, know, like we have that video like right there. Like someone can just click it and like they'll see that and they'll like assign more value to it. But like the average person, like it isn't going to go through
No,
every one of these, and like they're not going to go to the about us page and they're not going to go to the reviews page, and we have to go so far out of our way to put every piece of information that can move them down the funnel and convert them right in front of them, like, and make no assumptions that like I worked so hard on this about us page and like the information's there and like they're going to go
no,
find it. Because like I know after seeing enough over the last 5 6 years, that's not how
no.
shoppers interact, and it's honestly so much of the value we get from like where we see our behavior as shoppers, and like we're not doing
No,
that.
what we've just done some research actually, and we have higher conversion rates
Mm-hmm.
from people who find us on Instagram, and it's because we
Okay,
tell the story so well there, and a lot of that they've
mm-hmm.
already bought into it. So what?
That
Yeah,
makes a
but
ton of
that's
sense.
because so they're already brand aware before they get to the website, so we get really high conversion, but we don't get that conversion from what you've just said, like a brand new person getting there and going, right, what is this? Is this justify that price? Like, why should I buy you? What I don't know anything about the brand story. I don't know where they're made. I don't know like what makes them special. And I think there is some information
Right.
further down, but it's not obvious, which is why I was saying I do like some of these tech brands do it. They do it so well. Like they make you want to
Yeah,
scroll and like ooh like
yeah, because they just lead with like that end state, which is like in your case like find
yeah yeah
comfort,
yeah yeah
and then it's like yeah, going through like the USPs and like really, really hitting on everything. So the fact that like you're working on that, I think is awesome, and I'm really excited to see like what that ends up looking like. Cool. The rest of the order experience, very, very like straightforward, I would say. Um, then basically we get into like the email and
mm-hmm.
SMS side of things. So before I go into my experience, Jen, like what would you describe as the role that email and SMS play in like fueling the business's growth at this point?
Well, like I said, that like half of our revenue every month is um, from returning customers, and a massive
Mhm.
part of that is the emails that we send out. So it's reminding people that we're there, about new collections, about converting people who may not have bought the first time, but or awakening people that might have bought a while ago, and they might not have fitted, they might have returned them, and we're like, oh, we've improved this now, so come back. Um, so email is massive, and it's massive because when I first set the business up, I didn't have any money for ads. Like it was just me and a load of shoes in my garage, that I was sending out. So SEO and email was so important, and email has evolved for us, where it is obviously a sales channel. So we are wanting people to buy the shoes, but what's
Mhm.
quite important is I want to bring them along the journey as well, so they feel. I don't know. I think that you can build loyalty by just the way that you send your emails out, and that's what I think. I think if we're offering, we try not to send out just boring emails. Every now and again we might send out something that's just for me, just to say thank you, or it might be a meet the team email, or it might be just some stuff
Yeah.
just to give some background. So email, for me, is obviously conversion. We don't spend, I don't pay somebody in my team to write a couple of emails a week and create all the flows just to not get an ROI from that. But it's more, I think, just about encouraging people to feel like they're part of our little family. And um, once we've got them, it sounds awful, that, doesn't it? But once we've got them, we know that email is a key driver for revenue. And when we did that TV advert, we knew that we had to capture as many emails as possible, because watching a TV advert, as you know yourself, you don't watch a TV advert and then very rarely do you go, I'm going to buy that right now. And that's quite unusual, isn't it? So, but we definitely saw like big spikes in traffic to the website. And we knew that we had to capture as many of those as possible on email, just so that we could eventually convert them a bit further down the line, or like once we've stalked them a bit on Google and on Meta and stuff, and on giving them some email messages about a bit more about the backstory and about who we were, then we'd be able to convert them. SMS is fairly new to us, and we use it sparingly. I still feel like it's a bit invasive, like personally. I think that might change over time as people get more and more used to it and it's not as novel anymore. And I know that in America, Americans are more used to it than they are in the UK. Also, it's really bloody expensive in the UK to send SMSs. So it's cheaper in the US. So we have used it sparingly. According to the analysis from, like, we use Attentive, not Klaviyo. It's working. I'm always a bit skeptical about like attribution and stuff, but when we send a text out in the same way as when we send an email out, we definitely get sales. So it does work.
Yeah.
And it is quite nice actually, because there's a lot of email noise. I mean, I get like 150 to 200 emails a day. I'm sure that's kind of normal, isn't it, these days? And that's just my work inbox, not my personal one. So,
right.
There's a lot of noise, and sometimes SMS can just cut through. So it does definitely have its place, but we tend to use it sparingly.
Got it. A few very interesting things that you mentioned there. So I'd say, like, number one, your philosophy about email marketing, whether you recognize it or not, is one of the strongest philosophies to have to generate as much revenue as possible. And basically, there's like, I'd say there's two main camps, like when it comes to email marketing philosophies, where like camp number one is like, we just need to, it's basically, I call it merchandising in the inbox. It's like, put a product in front of someone and a shop now button and like just hammer them with like almost like a meta ad, and then camp number two is like really using it to like foster brand engagement. And when that's done properly with like thoughtful and tasteful like product tie-ins, that can lead to much more revenue than like merchandising in the inbox, because you're actually giving people like a reason to care and a reason to open their emails. So that when you do have a promotion or you do have a new product launch, like they're now interested, engaged with the brand, versus just constantly seeing a stream of like product. So that philosophy is definitely like the right one to have. On the SMS side, I actually was curious as you were talking about it, if there is a different mindset around SMS marketing in the UK compared to the US. So I'm in Canada, but like where the USA's little brother. And like, honestly, it's become so normal to like sign up for SMS and like receive SMS marketing, that like invasiveness, I feel like, has gone away probably over the last like 2-3 years, because it hasn't been a long time. It really used to feel like, why are you texting me? And now, like, I look at it really as just like, and I look at it really the same way, like, as I do a customer and a lifecycle marketer, which is like, if there is a brand that I really like, and I definitely want to know when something cool is happening, like a new product or a sale, like you said, I get over 100 emails a day. Like, I'm probably going to miss it. And if I really like that brand, it serves me to get a text that I know I'm going to see when it is something I care about. So I think it really is, like, if it's a brand that you're engaged with and that you care about, like, receiving it. And if it's not a brand, and you're going to unsubscribe. So that's great. I have my thoughts on it. If we could take off. But really, like, that all sounds good. Are you doing anything on the WhatsApp side? Because I know, like, in the UK and Europe, the new channel.
Not yet, but I have had meetings with a few providers of WhatsApp. I mean, it's the same price as SMS. That's the thing. Like, it's no cheaper. If you want WhatsApp for business, it's the same price to send out, WhatsApps. Is that what you call them? Rather than messages. So I haven't seen the point of switching quite yet, because everything's under one umbrella. One of the things I do like is that if we because email is connected to SMS. If someone hasn't opened an email, then we can send them an SMS. So we're
Mhm.
not wasting that money. But with the WhatsApp providers that we have at the moment, that integration isn't quite there. What I want is Attentive just to start doing WhatsApps, and then like, why not? It's silly. Yeah, just
Yeah,
add more stuff, just bolt more stuff
yeah.
on, rather than me having to buy different providers. Um, so yeah, in fact, the
So we
WhatsApp was more
specialize in
expensive than SMS in the UK.
really, that's so
Only by a
surprising
couple
to
of
me because
pence or
like
something, but it wasn't any cheaper.
it still adds up. But like we specialize in Klaviyo for
Mm.
email at our agency. So like we work with a lot of brands that are on Klaviyo for email and SMS. We work with some brands that are on Klaviyo for email and Attentive on SMS. But I thought I saw so Klaviyo rolled out WhatsApp like native within Klaviyo, so you can use it like the exact
All
same way
right.
you use it as SMS for campaigns and flows. And I was like 99% sure that it was way cheaper, but I understand like why they would be able to do that and like a dedicated WhatsApp
Oh,
provider
let's have a
like
look.
wouldn't. Does
Yeah,
that make
yeah,
sense?
yeah.
Yeah, and I just know like in Europe, it definitely is like much bigger, much more common than SMS. So
It's
yeah, maybe
just
something to
harder, isn't
look
it, for
into.
brand storytelling? Like, I think it's there to say there's a sale on Elliot, or the shoes
That's
that
it.
you wanted are back in stock, or it's for very specific small messages. It's not like Jenny says she's in Portugal at the moment and she wants to show you the new collection.
No,
It's not like that.
no. And the truth is, it is really important to be mindful of that because obviously there is that cost that comes along with like sending one
Yeah,
SMS campaign compared to an email. And from all of our experience, like the only time you're going to get as close to a guaranteed like ROI on that SMS send as possible, especially in apparel, is like promotion or new product launch. Anything other than that is like almost, I'm not going to say a waste, but like it can be hard to break
oh
even
yeah,
on
yeah.
those like
And even
engagement
though we get encouraged to send out more because obviously there's a business model there, isn't there?
Yep.
I'm always
Yeah.
quite like, no, we're going to stick to what
Yeah.
my guns about what I think
Yeah.
the SMS is useful for.
For sure. And then on the automation side, of course, like whenever someone's in the funnel close to a purchase, like an abandoned cart, abandoned checkout, it
Yeah,
crushes
yeah.
there. Um, cool. So this is the first time this has ever happened, Jen, on LTV Lab, but I received zero emails from
Oh, you're
Calla
joking.
after I placed my order. So I don't know if it's because I like placed my order through Shop Pay. And I do know that like on your checkout page, you have like the checkbox to like email with news and offers if you go through the
Yeah.
like the standard checkout. But if you are going through the shop like express checkout, um, I feel like people might be slipping through the cracks there because there's no like I'm not sure exactly what the laws are in the UK, but like in Canada and the US, well, in the US, like people don't have to subscribe at all, and in Canada, which is more strict, like they don't have to subscribe, but and you can email them within 12 months of them starting a business relationship. It's like the legal language.
No.
So if someone
In the
purchases,
EU, you're not allowed to do any of that. They can only get marketing emails if they specifically sign up to say that they want them. We can send them order confirmation emails, though, transactional.
right. So that's what I was
Hmm.
getting. But what percentage of the business like is outside of the EU?
Um, about, well,
Just because like technically you could have legally emailed me, I believe. Like if you're sending an email
yeah, to
to
you,
Canada, I
but we get
believe.
very,
Yeah.
Our Canadian business is tiny. I
Yeah.
believe, so because you had to buy from the UK site, um, we separate out the Americans at the moment. Um, I actually don't know if we do it differently there um, than we do here. But yeah, we have really strict laws over here. EU are like on it.
Yeah. Okay. So I did purchase from the EU
Yeah,
site. So if I had purchased from the American site, I likely would have started getting all of those
possibly, but I'm
emails.
not sure. I'll make a note. I can find out.
Okay, because I just remembered thinking, especially like I made this order early November, so like before Black Friday, and like the timing would have lined up perfectly, like as a new customer to start getting like those promos and obviously like all
But
the
you
other
didn't
emails you're
get
sending.
any, and you didn't sign up on the
I didn't
website
get
either for a discount code.
No, and honestly, the reason why I didn't is like we like treating LTV Lab as like a standard customer experience. So that's where it's like I didn't want to kind of cheat it, and like I said, this is the first time this happened, so I wasn't expecting to not get anything. In hindsight, I would have loved to see like what you
That's
had saw, so
sad.
I could
You send lovely emails.
um I know, and my only concern is just that like this is happening to a broader number of people, even if it's like just because people are paying through Shop Pay, which is getting adopted at least in North America, like more and more. Um, Definitely like something to look into. This could be a crazy edge case where like it really is just like me and a few other Canadians.
No, but I think if you were a normal customer, you probably would have signed up to get $25 off or 25 quid off.
But your opt-in rate on that pop-up forum, like the highest we get, so like for our clients at Dispatch, like we A/B test our
Mm,
pop-up forums every single month, and like the highest that we aim for is
yeah.
20%, and that's really like the absolute highest that we'll see. Most, especially in fashion, it tends to kind of range between like 7 and 12%, which still means like 80 to 90% of people are not
Yeah.
signing up for that forum.
But you are saying
Yeah.
in the USA, um, people just get automatically signed up to marketing emails.
Yeah, so in the US, the laws work on an opt-out
Yeah.
basis, which basically means like you can email anyone, you just need to give them the ability to unsubscribe. Canada works in opt-in, probably similar to UK, but in Canada, if you start a business relationship with someone where you
Yeah.
place an order, you can legally email them for 12 months
Yeah, I did
following
not
that.
know that.
So,
These are
yeah, I'm
geographical
not.
nuances, aren't they? What about on Shop
Mhm.
Pay? If people click Shop Pay, is there any way to sign up at that point? Like, does Shop Pay offer that service?
They should. So if I just go through this, I don't think this is actually going to place the order here. Um, Sign in or create. Go back.
I
Let's
do
try
want more
this.
business from Canada. It's just, you know,
Yeah, no, but I'm more concerned about like the
yeah,
states
yeah,
here,
yeah, yeah.
really. Oh, I'm actually in. Oh, here, I can send a code by email. Let's see.
But in Shop Pay, that's really interesting.
Yeah, it's not something I've encountered before, but again, like we usually shop from brands in the US, so
That's really
it makes
sad
sense.
because now you can't give me any feedback on our email marketing.
I know, and yeah, and we can talk about it after if you want me to like go into Glacio and give you the feedback on the emails I would have gotten, but at this point, definitely was a shame. So here I went in through ShopPay, and here I have sign up for news and offers from this store, which I definitely would not have toggled off. So it's just possible like that's not syncing properly to give the marketing consent that's needed
Okay. But we
within the
have
tech.
to, if you're buying from that store, you have to sign, you have to tick it. I think there's like a physical need to tick it. I don't know if we can have it auto tick, but I'll find out from a law point of view.
But
But
when I
it
just
was
loaded
already
it now,
auto ticked.
right?
So maybe it's not syncing. So I'll find out.
Yeah,
Okay, auto tick marketing emails. And it says
yeah.
marketing emails.
It does sign me up for news and
Okay, yeah,
offers
yeah,
from this
that's fine.
store, and it does replace like the other. I know like when you do check out as guest, it says separately like send me marketing emails. I think email me with news and offers, so it is different language, and because it's different language, I'm assuming, or I definitely know like it's a different setting within Shopify, and that's probably what's not syncing like from that source.
Potentially. Do you know what? We did use a bit of software at one point that captured people after they purchased. So it was like another screen and said,
Mhm.
um, so I can't remember what the software is called now, but we don't use it anymore. We tested it out. But for people we hadn't captured at that point, we captured them post purchase. So it came like it said, if you sign up for marketing emails and you get this or something like that, but it was post purchase. It was another way of like scooping up. Do you know what I mean? But I think that we decided not to do it because our opt-in rate was quite high. So I need to double check that.
Got it. Yeah, it's also like inattentive. Like it's easy to see inflated opt-in rates in like certain situations. So I would check it out. I recommend everyone like listening to this. Like we use Alia with all of our clients. It's by
What's
far
it
the
called?
best like pop-up forum. It's called Alia, Alia. Um, we, like I said, use it for all of our brands. Like design wise, like they have the capabilities to design like much more
Yeah, they
beautiful,
do look
engaging
beautiful.
pop-ups. Yeah, compared to Klaviyo and Attentive, and it syncs directly with Klaviyo and Attentive. Um, yeah, so like the difference on average, I would say, is probably like a 50% increase in opt-in
Wow.
rates when we go from Klaviyo to Klaviyo. And that's like 50% more people that are then going through your flows, able to get campaigns. So people don't like A/B test pop-up forms enough at a regular basis. It's like similar to flows. It's like you set it up and then like sometimes we'll make a change, but it's not something like we're actively working on. But really, like the way I describe it is every dollar that you're putting into paid ads or content that's going to drive people to the site, like the highest number of people you can convert from paid traffic to email and SMS subscribers, the more every one of those ad dollars is going to go further because you can now retarget
Yeah, yeah,
these
absolutely.
people much cheaper than like with retargeting ads. But it's just like not looked at from that lens, and like there's not enough A/B testing that brands do because it's kind of just like, oh, our pop-up opt-in's like 7%. That's what it is, and like it's great. Um, so yeah, it's not sexy, but it does move the needle more than a lot of things that brands kind of test, like subject lines and stuff. Um, but yeah, that was basically like my experience. I will say the product was fantastic. So I didn't use it. I actually bought these for so my mom ended up using them and said that they were amazing. She doesn't have bunions, but she does have like wide feet, and she vouched heavily
Oh, did she?
for the
What
quality.
did you
So
buy? Did you buy
yeah, so
sneakers or?
I did. So I bought. I can give you the exact name. It was share here. It was the Cosmos Chunky
Oh, right.
Soled
Okay.
Denim Blue Wide
Good.
Fit.
Yeah, they are very wide them as well, actually.
Yeah. Um, so you might have won a customer for life. We'll
Ah,
see. And I'll have her sign up for the email so she can start getting them and see if they convert her.
yeah, it's good. It's. I think I love our emails, and um, we put a lot of effort into getting the messaging right, and it not just like I say, I want to do more work on making it more conversational. But when I've been having some meetings with like each member of the team this week, like kind of annual review stuff and annual planning, and I've said that customer services is the very heart of our business. Without, you can have the
Mhm.
most sophisticated loyalty scheme in the world, you can have like a great product, you can have like the best designer working on it, but if you're not being lovely to that customer and giving them a great experience, and they hate you or for whatever reason, you're not going to get them back. It doesn't matter. All of that doesn't matter. You can send them as many emails as you like it won't matter. So the kind of the customer journey for me isn't just about looking at the data points and what converts at which
Mhm.
point and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, that's important. It to me, it's more about, is the customer valued at every point in that journey, and are we making them feel um, that I don't know, do they feel like the brand is nice to them? Do they feel like we're genuinely wanting to help them? Because that's genuinely what I want to do, and I need that to come across like at every touch point. So I hope that I hope that our emails do that. So do tell your mum to sign up and give you some feedback to see what she thinks, because it is that
Yeah.
think. If you think about it, I know you're not the target demographic, um, not just because you're male, but really our target demographic is a little bit older as well. It's just the nature of feet. Like the more you use your feet,
Mhm.
the more likely you are to have comfort needs. And
Right.
but you're still super fashionable at the same time. Just because you might be 50 or 60 or 70 or 80 something doesn't mean you need to let go of your fashion sense. And but they do have a very high expectation of customer service. Like this is like, it's quite old fashioned. Um, and if they're going to buy online and not buy in store, um, they kind of expect the same level of customer service that they would get in store. That same personal level of experience. And we try and deliver that. Like email's dead hard, isn't it? Because it tends to be one way. It's like we tell you, you don't tell us back.
Yeah.
And I'm really trying to look at ways this year of how we can open more of a dialogue using email.
Yeah. And the fact that you even said like your survey response rates are great and people like really just like resonate with the, I think you called it like the tribe. Like they understand that like this is a community like focused on a problem that they have. I think puts you in a really, really good space and zone to form like community, which obviously can only happen with that back and forth. And honestly, like it is or it can sound like counterintuitive, but again, I think your philosophy, whether you like are looking at it like this or not, is the best philosophy to generate the most revenue long term, where like you're not looking at it from like how can we squeeze every dollar out of every touch point here. It's like how can we make the customer experience as good as possible so that someone loves the brand and naturally wants to come back. And I'm the first person to say, like, with my biased email marketing opinion, that like an email is usually not going to get someone, or it's never going to get someone to come back that like didn't have a good experience with the product, with the customer service, with all the other components that go into a brand. So just focusing on the basics is like basically setting up the like firewood to then be able to light the fire like with emails
Yeah.
and drive.
So, are most of your listeners smaller businesses like mine? Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. Definitely most are in the smaller space. Like I'd say most of the brands that we've had on are doing like 8 figures in
Mm.
revenue, like low to mid 8 figures. But listeners and people on our newsletter, we have like close to 1,000 newsletter subscribers now, like all brand founders, marketers, are mostly on the smaller side.
Because one of the things that we do as a tip, and that works really well if you're not just, it's different if you've got a product and you just want to sell as many of them as you can, make loads of money and exit. But like I'm trying to build a
Hmm.
sustainable brand that I hope is around for a long time, well after I'm gone. Um, so what we do, well, what we are able to do still as a small brand is one of our, as part of one of our email flows, ends in a personal email from me, and it's asking them to say thank you for purchasing, really appreciate it, and any feedback that you've got, whether it's positive or negative, I really need to know, because otherwise we can't help more people in the future. You know what I mean? So, and we get, I mean, it's not huge, but we get a really nice response rate to that email. People who feel seen, and people who
Hmm.
feel, even though it isn't it is for me, but it's not. You know what I mean? It's in a flow. But an email that we get that comes back from my personal email out, I do respond to it personally. So I make that time to do that, because these are future brand ambassadors. They're the people when they email me going, it's so nice to hear from you, it's so different to any other brand, like we, to get this level of a personal email, from the founder, of the business. I want to say that I love this shoe, but I'd like to see it in this color. And they give you loads, like they give you so much information. Like
For
it's
sure.
so valuable that, and it's really nice because when you're having a bad day, when you're running your business and everything's, going to shit, then you get this lovely email from a customer telling them how much they appreciate what you're doing, and it really lifts you up. But that, yeah, it's market intelligence, market research, and it builds your brand and it builds future brand ambassadors. So if you're trying to build a brand that's more than just something that you want to make as much money as possible out of, that's not sustainable, um, ignore that. But if you want to build something that's a bit, a bit more lifetime, something that somebody
Yeah.
might want to purchase in the future, those types of things I think are what adds value to your business above and beyond how many email subscribers you've got. It's that kind of level of
A hundred
like
percent.
engagement.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. And I think like that's just the perfect sign off, really, which is like do things the right way and do things like for the long term. Do you have a Facebook community, Jen?
um,
Just
we
curious.
do, but it died of death. We do more on Instagram now. We found that it works better
Okay.
for us, and it's weird. I know it's not a community, but we kind of have that conversational level on Instagram. Um, yeah, we tried the Facebook thing and just couldn't get it going.
Yeah, it requires a lot of involvement. Honestly, like I don't know if like the Calla customers on Facebook like that, but I do know for brands that have that like common problem that they're solving for their demo,
Yeah,
Facebook can be
I've
awesome.
joined other groups of women who are the
Yeah.
same demographic, because I like to listen as
Yeah.
well, like because they ask each other like, "Oh, what shoes are you buying?"
Yeah. Got it. Okay. Well, thank you
No
so
problem.
much for the conversation, Jen. Really, really appreciate it. I learned a ton, and I'm sure our viewers will as well. If anyone watching has wide feet or bunions, go to Calla. What's the domain?
Callashoes.com
callashoes.co.
or yeah, callashoes.com, you'll get to us.
Perfect. Yeah.
No
Thank you,
problem.
Jen. This is
Thank
awesome.
you.